Question number 14. So question number 14 wants us to write and graph an equation of a line through 2 points. Alright? So the question reads, graph the line that passes through 9, -1 and 6, 1. Okay? So here we do have some graphing sheet. Okay? So let's actually graph these points. Okay? So 9, -1 would mean positive 9 for the x, -1 for the y, which would be right here. Okay? 6, 1 would be positive 6 for the x, positive 1 for the y. Okay? So let's draw this line, all right? Because again, we do have graphing paper, so let's actually try to draw this line. You are going to need to do that same thing on Delta Math. Okay? So that's what my line is, all right? So I need to try to figure out, okay, what would be the equation of this line. So to figure out this equation, guys, I need to make sure that I remember the general form for an equation, which is y equal mx plus b. All right? Where we know that y is your total, m is your slope, and b is your y-intercept. Okay? So in this case, guys, you are going to write an equation where it's going to be y is equal to some slope x and some y-intercept. All right? So the easiest thing to identify when you have your graph is your y-intercept. All right? So in this case, if I look at my graph, it seems that my y-intercept, or where I intercepted the y-axis, was at positive 5. All right? So the coordinate for this would be 0, 5. All right? So again, my y-intercept would be a positive 5. Okay? So now I'm going to try to apply my slope. Okay? So to apply your slope, guys, you need to go from one solid point to another solid point. All right? So I know that this right here is a solid point because, again, we graphed it. I also know that this is a solid point. So let's go from solid point to solid point. Okay? So I'm going to go from here to here. So that means I would need to go down 1, 2 times. If I went down 2, that means when I'm implying my rise over run, okay, going down would mean that it's a -2. All right? Because you know that rise tells you up or down. Okay? But because you're going down, that means that it's going to be a -2 because you're going downwards. Okay? Then I would need to move to the right 1, 2, 3 times. Because you went to the right, that means it's a positive 3. So your slope, because again, I cannot simplify this anymore, would be a -2 over 3. And that would be the equation of my line. So you type in y equal -2 over 3x plus 5. All right? So, again, guys, that is it. But you could actually do this another way, guys, all right, if you did not have a graph. If you did not have a graph, guys, you need to use this formula to find your slope, all right? So, again, to use this formula, you just plug in these as your x1, y1, and your x2, y2. So this will be your x1, this will be your y1, because it's your first x and y values. This will be your x2 and y2, because they are my second x and y values, all right? So again, all you do is just plug them into this formula right here. So again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equal, so again, a lot of times I set up like this, where I have a fraction, a negative sign in between, because that's what my formula says, a negative sign in between. Then I write 2 parentheses right here, okay? Plug in my y2, which is 1, and then the x2 goes underneath of it, so the x that goes with it goes underneath. Plug in my y1, which is -1, and then the x1 goes underneath it, which is 9, all right? Then I calculate a negative beside a negative turns to a positive, all right? 1 plus 1 gives me that 2. Oh, we're almost there. 6, I don't see a negative right here, so 6 minus 9 is -3. 2 cannot be divided by negative 3, but a negative divided by negative and a positive divided by negative gives me a negative 2 over 3. Always only apply the negative to the number at the top. And again, that's how we end up getting back that slope. Alright? So again, guys, that's how you utilize that formula to get that slope. Okay? But just using the graphing method, guys, would also work.